Hello and welcome to FPL Mate, your best mate for fantasy Premier League content for the 2020-21 season. My name is Dan and today I thought I'd give for you a little double game week 24 preview video in a way, looking at some best players. I basically wanted just to dedicate one video last minute to the double game week, try and give you some last minute tips. I'm hoping that most of you guys have saved your transfers to the last minute. Really important to do that in these kind of times like this. So hopefully you still got your transfers, you still haven't quite figured out your plan, and hopefully I can help you out today. And if you do enjoy this video, please do give a like, please do subscribe if you're new around here. And without further ado, we're going to go through the double game week fixtures for this game week. We're going to have a look at which players from each team we might want to be targeting with our transfers this game week. And finally, we're going to look at who we might want to captain this game week out of the doubling players. And maybe we might even consider some non-double game week players for the captain as well. But it's going to be a little bit quicker than usual, guys, today, if that's okay with you guys. So let's start off with the fixtures. We know who the four doubling teams are this game week. So we've got City have got 2 fixtures in game week 24. Burnley have got 2 fixtures. Everton have got 2 fixtures, and Fulham have got 2 fixtures as well. Now I'll just say straight away, Fulham, we're not really going to be looking at. It's not really a team we want to be invested in. I know you might think short term this might be nice to just get any kind of double player from that Fulham team, but remember we've got to keep these players kind of long term, haven't we? Unless you're planning on wildcarding very soon, which I wouldn't rush into a wildcard if you don't have to. Maybe Fulham just should not be considered whatsoever, especially when there's such nice options from these other teams, which we are going to talk about in a minute. But first of all, the fixtures. So, City play Tottenham and Everton. Now, these 2 fixtures, a lot of people have looked at these and thought, yeah, Tottenham, a big 6 side, Everton, they're a really good side as well. These are kind of tough fixtures, aren't they? They're going to be tough fixtures for City. Well, first of all, when you're Man City, there is no such thing as a tough fixture. There really isn't. They are that good right now in particular. And second of all, I don't think that Spurs and Everton are quite as good as you guys might think, particularly on recent form. So I was looking at some stats today, looking at the recent form. I always do over the past 5 game weeks. That's how I kind of try and judge things. And both Tottenham and Everton are both firmly in the bottom half of the table for expected goals conceded and actual goals conceded over the past 5 game weeks. So they're actually some of the weaker defences in the league, both Tottenham and Everton. Now that might actually surprise you. You might be thinking Everton and Spurs, pretty good defences. Actually, that's not quite the case. They're actually a bit nicer in terms of, you know, for attacking returns. You probably expect more from the City players than you would from the Burnley players, just because the City fixtures are actually better than Burnley's fixtures against Crystal Palace and Fulham when you're looking at your attacking players. That's genuinely the case right now from what I can see. Now, the 2 teams, Everton and Spurs, also just played a game in the FA Cup and the score was 5-4 to Everton. So there was 9 goals in this game. So if that's not enough evidence for you to say that, well, actually, perhaps Everton, Spurs, these are teams that actually concede quite a lot of goals, that's pretty good evidence there. So actually, when we're looking at the Man City attacking players, it could actually be a really, really nice game week. Far nicer than I don't know, meets the eye, I guess. A lot of people don't necessarily know how bad Tottenham and Everton have been from a defensive point of view recently. So use that information and maybe think about, you know, going in on some Man City attackers, maybe even think about captaining them. So Burnley, it's the opposite kind of situation. They play Crystal Palace and they play Fulham. Both Crystal Palace and Fulham, they're not going to concede a lot of goals and they're not going to score a lot of goals either. So these fixtures are, instead of being nice fixtures for your attackers, these Burnley fixtures are actually really good fixtures for your defenders. Now, I'm going to be doubling up on the Burnley defence, really going a bit risky here. I'm not sure if I necessarily recommend you taking that risk, but I would want, if I were you, at least one Burnley defender here, because these are really nice fixtures for your defenders. Crystal Palace have the lowest expected goals that they're going to score of any team over the last 5, and Fulham have the lowest actual goals scored over the last 5 game weeks. So both of the Crystal Palace and Fulham, each in their own individual ways, are bottom of the attacking metric, which is fantastic when you're looking for clean sheets. So really, really good fixtures there to consider. So finally, we're going to move on to Everton, and the thing is with Everton is one of their double game week fixtures is against Man City. And when one of your double game week fixtures is against Man City, can you really consider it a proper double game week? And I don't know if you can. The Man City fixture is kind of just a bonus. You know, if you've got, Richarlison in your team, for example, Fulham is going to be where Richarlison gets the points, and then that game against Man City is just going to be a nice little 2-point top-up to Richarlison's point total, for example. So is there really opportunity for some high scores out of Everton players this game week? I'm not sure there is. I'm not sure that Everton are going to have any particularly high scoring players. I do think they're going to concede goals and not score any goals. You know, maybe they score one against Man City, but I kind of doubt it. One is sort of the maximum Everton score against Man City. So we're really just focusing on this nice game against Fulham, which is a nice game to be fair. And when you take this nice game against Fulham, add on the 1-2 points that you're going to get when you play against Man City, actually there could be some okay scores, but there's not really going to be anything groundbreaking from this Everton team this game week, so just be aware of that. And then finally, the Fulham double game week, like I said, it's not too interesting at all really, is it? So there we go, those are the fixtures. Let's move on to some players. So let's go team by team. We're going to start off with Man City. Now, the thing we want to think about when we're picking which players we want from each team that is going to be doubling this game week this game week, we also want to be thinking a little bit of the future, because in most cases, these are players that we're going to have to stick with for a fair few game weeks. So what is going to be going on in future game weeks as well for our players? Well, for Man City, the news is pretty good. So not only are they going to have this double game week, which is very, very nice against Everton and Tottenham, which is good for your attackers, but going forward, they've got this double game week in game week 26, where they're going to be playing West Ham and one of Wolves and Southampton, and then the other team out of Wolves and Southampton could possibly fit in game week 27, when they already play Manchester United. So the Wolves fixture and the Southampton fixture for Man City, they're kind of likely to be, well, one's definitely going to be fit in game week 26, I would say, and the other one possibly in game week 27. So we could be looking, genuinely speaking, as a case of 3 double game weeks for Man City within the space of 4 game weeks. So this is why it is now more important than ever to make sure you have 3 City players. I've been saying it for a while. Get 3 City players. If you still haven't got 3 of them, now is the time you need to make sure absolutely 100% you've got 3 City players. Don't forget about all other transfers. If you haven't got 3 City players, that is what you have to do right now, right this game. It really is that important, because this next run of fixtures, they're going to be playing 3 doubles in 4 game weeks potentially. Really nice fixtures this game week. Really nice potential doubles as well. It's going to be good for your Man City players, believe me. So, what kind of players are we looking at? Well, Gundogan is going to be probably the number 1 target, I would say. Just the form and the ability that he's showing right now, him taking on this creative role. There is Rodri. I said in my video a couple of days ago that Rodri, is he going to be playing this game week? Yes or no? It kind of looks like Rodri is going to be playing, which is going to allow, once again, that Gundogan plays that attacking, free roaming, as false 9, essentially, type midfield position where he's just so attacking, which is exactly what we like from him. Then we kind of got Cancelo, really, really high ceiling from Cancelo. We've got Sterling, who I really like, more trustworthy as a premium player, I guess, because we do like our premiums, and Sterling is definitely one of the main players at Manchester City, so he's going to be really nice. Then we've got the medium risk type players. Foden, you don't know when he's going to play, when he's not going to play. Stones, he's become a slight rotation risk, not a massive rotation risk, but a slight one. And then Diaz, usually nailed on, but we do know he is just recovering from illness. Now, he has trained today, which is pretty good news, but is he 100% going to play in the first game against it's Everton first? It's Spurs first, sorry. Is he going to be playing against Spurs? Maybe he comes back for that game against Everton. That's kind of what I'm thinking. But there's sort of a chance he might not play in that first game against Tottenham. Anyway, the high-risk players here are Jesus and Mahrez and Aguero. Aguero has trained, which is what makes Jesus a slight risk. The reason I include Aguero, usually I'd say avoid Aguero at all points, but Aguero is super, super high risk, but he is such high reward as well that you can't really fully discount him. I would not really be wanting to take a risk that big personally, but if it does come off, then the reward is huge. But I really wouldn't be backing that one too much. Jesus, Mahrez, they are really risky players. But I'd kind of be avoiding Ederson, because when you want your 3 City players, and you really do want 3 City players, you really want to make sure you go all in on your City players. You don't want to be, trying to cut corners going with Ederson. Oh, okay, Ederson, yeah, he probably guarantees me 6 points most weeks. We want to be aiming a little bit higher than that, I think. Bernardo Silva, he is a slight rotation risk, but his output is not good enough to justify even the tiniest bit of risk there. We've got Walker, who he's kind of rotating a little bit. I think Cancelo is preferred. Laporte's not sure 100% if he's going to be playing. And then you've got like Torres and other players like that who I just would not be going for at all. But anyway, let's move on to Burnley because we are going on a little bit now, aren't we? So Burnley, they have a double game week in game week 26 as well as game week 24. So they're going to be against Tottenham and Leicester in game week 26. Now they've got no further doubles, but they've got a nice double this game week. Normal game week 25, nice game week in game week 26. So over these 3 game weeks, it's going to be nice to have maybe 1, possibly 2 Burnley players. So Pope is target number 1. Ben Mee I really like for his attacking threat. Lowton, nice and cheap, guaranteed to play. Doesn't really offer much more than just potential clean sheets. But there could be 2 clean sheets in here for Burnley, couldn't there? Quite easily. So maybe that could be quite nice even for a cheap option. Tarkowski up at medium risk just because he's a little bit more expensive and probably has about the same chance of scoring a headed goal as Ben Mee. But he is that a bit expensive, so it's kind of like, do you really want to pay the extra money? I'm not sure I do. And then you've got Barnes, a little bit of a risky one, but like I said earlier, I don't think this is going to be a massive week for Burnley attacking returns. And to be fair, what game week is a massive game week for Burnley returns? And then you've got Peters as well. There's a small chance that Taylor comes back, so that's what makes him a bit risky. Maybe you can go for McNeil, probably not. I would avoid Dunn, Westwood, Vidra. Again, go for players that are a little bit more secure. That's kind of what I'd be thinking. And then just move on to Everton. Now, Everton have the least appealing double game week this game week. As we know, City don't really count. But the reason why I do think they're still worth having a good proper look at is because Everton, they should have a really nice double game week in game week 26. So we only have to wait at one normal weight game week, and then again, Everton are going to be straight back into the double game weeks with versus Southampton, who are in poor form, and then they're going to be playing one of Aston Villa or West Brom. Now, the other of Aston Villa or West Brom, that has to fit in somewhere else, and that could be fitting in game week 25, it could fit in game week 27, it could be game week 28. So it's very likely that Everton, again, are going to have 3 double game weeks over the next few weeks, including game week 24, this one. So that's kind of why you still want to look at Everton, because there is multiple double game weeks coming, as well as this sort of, I guess, mini one for them, because Man City aren't a proper double game week team to be playing, I guess. Anyway, they're all medium risk this week, I guess. Richarlison, Digne, kind of medium risk, but I would like to look at Digne going forward. If it wasn't for this Man City fixture, I probably would have a proper look at Digne. I do like the look of him a lot, though. Richarlison really the only viable attacker player, but if you want to take a risk, you go for a sort of Keane, you can go for Rodriguez, Sigurdsson. Avoid DCL. We know he's not going to play in the Fulham game, and he's only back for the Man City game. We know he's going to be he's not going to be ready for this Fulham game, so that kind of discounts him. And if he's only playing against Man City, then that's one, it's not a double game week for DCL anymore, and 2, it's not even a good single game week. It's a bad single game week for DCL, so I would not be bringing DCL in this game week. Doucouré seems knee-jerk. Holgate, no, I don't think I'd be going for him. A little bit of rotation risk here, and we want nailed-on players when we're talking about doubles. Otherwise, they may end up being essentially single game week players if they're not nailed on playing most of the games, right? Pickford is going to be injured. Olsen, you could go. I see a lot of people going for Olsen because I think, okay, Pickford's injured, let's go for Olsen, but that's really short-term thinking. Olsen's going to be straight back out of the team when Pickford comes back. Might even be against Man City by the time that happens. So then you've made a mistake there. So I wouldn't go for Olsen either. But anyway, quick note on captain, guys, because this video is stretching as longer than I wanted it to, as I always waffle on. Sorry about that, guys. But let's do this quickly. So captains, in order of how likely I would want to pick these players, is Gundogan just because of his form and the really good fixtures from an attacking point of view. Sterling, exactly the same situations. Not as good form, but we do know Sterling, premium, trustworthy over a long period of time. He's the kind of player we would want to be looking at captaining as well. Now, Gundogan and Sterling, I would actually consider triple captaining. I might triple captain Gundogan myself. I'm not decided on that one yet. But those 2 players are the only players I think I would consider triple captaining in this game week. Anyway, moving on to Pope. Really kind of a strangely high ceiling for a goalkeeper here. He only needs to get the 2 clean sheets, a couple of save points, a couple of bonus points, and suddenly he's on 20 points, which is unheard of for a goalkeeper, but it's genuinely a possibility. It's risky, though, so I don't know. It's an option. It's an option for a captain, but I'm not 100% sure on it. Cancelo, very high ceiling for a defender. You are counting on those clean sheets as well. Maybe you get some attacking returns as well. Could be a really nice game week for Cancelo, and you kind of got to hope that he plays both as well, because he does occasionally skip a game, doesn't he? And then Bruno is the only single game week player I would consider, just because this West Brom fixture is so nice. Pogba's out, which means Bruno's going to be in a more attacking role there, which is really nice. And then other than that, we're talking about risky punts, really. Outside of those players, you're taking a real risk. You're taking a real punt. Maybe you go for Foden. Maybe you go for like me or Tarkowski. Maybe you go for Richarlison. Not really convinced by any of those players, but I understand why they would be worth considering. Now, people will also be talking about maybe, I've seen people consider Captain Lowton. The problem is with Lowton is he's not going to get any goals. He's not going to get any assists. He's not going to get any bonus points. The best you can hope for from Lowton, his absolute maximum ceiling is 12 points. And that is only going to happen if Burnley take 2 clean sheets. At least with Pope, you've got potential of save points, you've got potential of bonus points, which actually makes him more likely to score higher than Lowton. So wouldn't be captaining Lowton. I'd be aiming your sights a little bit higher than that. Burnley attack, I'm not convinced by it. The best of game weeks, I don't know why a lot of people are considering them this game week for a captain. I think that's a bit much. And you know, those City rotation risk players, I wouldn't be captaining either. And the majority of Everton, I wouldn't really be looking at either. You know, maybe consider Richarlison. But outside of that, I think you're probably taking too much of a risk. You know, if you're going for an Everton defender, for example, you're just as likely to lose points to get in the Man City game if Man City put, you know, 3-4 goals past Everton. You add a yellow card to that for a defender, and you suddenly, you know, that's kind of a bad idea. But maybe you could go for attacker, and the standout attacker for this Everton team is Richarlison right now, isn't it? So outside of that, not really sure I'd go for an Everton player. But that is basically it, guys. That is my quick overview for you for double game week 24. Hopefully this helps with your final decision making for the game week. Hopefully it clears up as much as humanly possible about all the doubles. But thank you so much for watching. Please do like the video if you enjoyed it. Please subscribe if you're new around here. And aside from that, I will see you tomorrow morning / today morning, depending on what time you're watching this, for a deadline stream for game week 24, where I'll be making last minute changes to my team and we'll think about playing the triple captain as well. Exciting stuff, guys. Love a double game week. I'm feeling good. But other than that, guys, I will see you tomorrow, hopefully. And if not, I'll see you on the next video. See you later, mates. Bye-bye.